In today's lesson, we want to look at these two questions. These questions are taken from the topic Approximations and Estimations, and we want to see how they are done. Satkatarisa, the first question, which is this one. Irikuti kudini. Let us read the question. Question irikuti triangle ABC has sides. AB is equals to 6.5 centimeters. BC is equal to 7.8 centimeters. And AC is equal to 9.1 centimeters. Measured to the nearest millimeter. Saka from the onset we have a quandary. We have a conundrum panapa. Yekuti we are given measurements which are in centimeters, but the degree of accuracy, it is measured to the nearest millimeter. Kurewa kuti to be safe, before we go anywhere, we should convert those lengths to millimeters. Saka let us try to visualize what we have here. Taudzwa out is a triangle ABC. So we can just put down a triangle, label it A, B, C. So we have a triangle yataudzwa in our question ABC. AB and it's 6.5 centimeters, BC comes 7.8 centimeters, AC comes 9.1 centimeters. But since yanzi measured to the nearest millimeter, tinofanirwa kuita reimagine this triangle, but now takaisa zvinhu zvese in millimeters. So maybe let us start with this conversion. How do we convert from centimeters to millimeters? So there are mainly three methods, and in order to discuss anemi panapa. So the first method, which is method 1, it's going to be tingati intuition. And saka intuitively, how can we understand this? Tinoziva kuti 1 centimeter, it's equal to 10 millimeters. Saka a unit, 1 centimeter, it's 10 millimeters. What about if we have, for example, let me take 6.5 centimeters. So 6.5 centimeters will be equal to 6.5 multiplying 1 centimeter in millimeter terms, which is 10 millimeters. Kurewa kuti we eventualize, we get 65 millimeters as our answer. Saka 1 centimeter, can I 10 millimeters? What about 6.5 centimeters? So it's simply going to be 6.5 times 10, which gives us 65 millimeters. The second method, which you can elect panapa, it's proportion. So proportionally, how can we work this? I want to use 7.8 centimeters. Then for the third method, I will use 9.1 centimeters. Kuti tingoona kuti tinoconverta say from centimeters to millimeters. Saka for proportion, tinotanga tanyora our true statement. True statement yedu inoti 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. Question yedu manje iri kuti how about 7.8 centimeters? It is going to be x representing the unknown, kana kuti the variable millimeters. Saka statement rekutanga rinonzi true statement because we take it from what we know already. But our second statement is actually our question. We are trying to answer the question we have. You should also make sure kuti ku left ne ku right. Ku left kufunga kuva ne the same unit. Ku right kufunga kuva zvakare in the same unit. Kureva kuti ku left in our case kune ma centimeters. Kwese kumsoro nekusasi kufunga kuva ne ma centimeters. 1 centimeter, 7.8 centimeters. Ku right kune ma millimeters, 10 millimeters ne x millimeters. That's also one way of testing kuti maita zvinhu zviri accurate here. Now after we have written these statements of proportion, kana kuti statements of proportionality, we are going to form an equation. How do we do that? We just take 1 over 7.8 kurauti tinoisa division line panapa, then we replace ma semicolon ne equal sign panapa iwachi 10 over x. Then we have to solve this equation. How do we do that? Through cross multiplication. So to apply a cross multiplication, x is going to multiply 1 and 7.8 is going to multiply 10. Saka x in get equal to 78 millimeters. Saka eventually ticha multiply 7.8 times 10 as we did for 6.5 centimeters, yata multiply na 10 also. So this is to show you kuti this method also brings a correct answer. Now demonstrating our method number 3. Method number 3, we are going to call it the chain method. Saka for the chain method munodai so you put in millimeters and centimeters over my side line like this. How many millimeters do we have in 1 centimeter? 10. Then we ask ourselves a question. What do we do? How do we convert from millimeters to centimeters? How also do we convert from centimeters to millimeters? Like that. Saka from millimeters to centimeters, let us imagine. Gatiti, we have 10 millimeters. How can we convert 10 millimeters to centimeters? We are obviously going to divide by 10. Saka kana tine 10 millimeters. Toda converted to centimeters. Tunofango divide na 10 kuti tiwane 1 centimeter. Kureva kuti from millimeters to centimeters, we divide by 10. Like that. How about converting from centimeters to millimeters? Kana tine 1 centimeter, we have to multiply it by 10 kuti tiwane 10 millimeters. Kureva kuti from centimeters to millimeters, we multiply by 10. The other way of knowing cannot noting this, kuti kana tichibva from a lower degree unit. Kana tichibva from a lower unit, tichenda to a higher unit, we divide by 10. Kana tichibva from a higher unit, tichenda to a lower unit, we multiply by 10. Saka millimeter, it's a lower unit because we need more millimeters just to have 1 centimeter. Like tunet kapamari. Cent, it's a lower unit because we need 100 cents to make $1. Saka $1 cannot a dollar becomes the higher degree unit, cannot the larger unit. So when we are converting from millimeters, which is a lower unit, to a larger unit, we divide by 10. When we are converting from a centimeter, a larger unit, to a lower unit, we multiply by 10, which then means 9.1 centimeters is simply going to be equal to 9.1 times 10, which is 91 millimeters. There might be a fourth method which physics students can be privy to, like understanding with the centi zvinorevei, milli zvinorevei as prefixes. We are not going to go into that, but if there are any physics students, you are free to use it, because at the end of the day, what is required is a correct answer, albeit which may wanna say. So these are the 3 methods we showed you on how to make conversions. You elect any one of them. You use a method which makes the most sense to you. Then you keep on practicing that method until it becomes second nature. So let us remove this part so that we progress with our question. Coming back to our question, 6.5 centimeters in millimeters in Gary 65 millimeters, 7.8 centimeters it's 78 millimeters, 9.1 centimeters it's 91 millimeters. That is the triangle we have. Why are we converting to millimeters? Because our degree of accuracy, that statement rakanzi measured to the nearest millimeter, ndo riri kutipa the necessity of doing that. Now let us answer the first part. Express the length of side AB as a range in that form. Saka length of AB toda kuiziva is equal to 6.5 centimeters, which is equal to 65 millimeters. Ndobva tanzi tiite express the length of side AB as a range, okay, in the form, that form yedu yakaita sei, it's actually AB, it's greater than or equal to something but less than something. How do we know how to define this range? Range yacho tinoziva kuti tinoiwana kupi. This statement rakanzi measured to the nearest millimeter, the degrees of accuracy, ndo rinotiudza kuti tiri kuita sei. Saka 65 millimeters yatiri kuona iyo, it's actually measured to the nearest millimeter. So what is going to be the lowest possible value inoti kana tika iconverter value yoyo to the nearest a millimeter, kana to the nearest units, if you can, your brain can connect it very quick, inoti pa 65. Saka value yacho kutanga inofanirwa kunge iri 64 because it aspire to 65. Murupaona? Saka the lowest value should be 64, but inenge iri 64.5. Saka AB is greater than or equal to 64.5. That is going to be the lower bound. Tikati 64.4 tikai rounda to the nearest 1 millimeter, cannot to the nearest units, inotipa 64. So the lowest number yatinogona kurounda to the nearest a millimeter ichitipa 65 ndi 64.5. Saka ndo yatinonyora apo. What about the largest number yatinoraunda ichitipa 65? Because AB should be less than something. Saka the largest number manje, cannot the biggest number, wherever you put it, inenge iri 65 and twadati 0.5, and I'm going to explain why. Of course, tikatora 65.5 tikairounda to the nearest 1 millimeter inotipa 66. But trick iri panapa ndeyekuti AB anenge ari less than 65.5. Murikuzona? Kureva kuti denotanga tatora nyaya iyi tikaisawo nenumber line yaibuda yakadai so. And AB, then panapa tinge tina 64.5, apa tina 65.5. Saka panapa 64.5 it's included because that is the lowest value yatinokwanisa ku rounda off, kana kuita round up to the nearest a millimeter chitipa 65. Asi because panapa pangonzi less than, so that ingeri a hollow circle like that. Saka like the lower bound, kana the lower number, I think it's easier to understand. Inofanirwa kuwa it's 64.5. That is the smallest number yatinogona kuta round off to the nearest a millimeter ichitipa 65. But the upper number manje, trick iri pakuti apo pazonzi AB it's less than, saka AB should be less than 65.5. Korauti tikutarisa ma values akaita sana 65.49 tichidzika kana kuti tichiapproacha 65.5 but tisingasvike pana 65.5. So I want confirmation if you have understood that part, because it's very important. Apo ndo panobva 2 marks dzacho apa panapa. That is the correct answer. Now from this tikazoenda ku part 2 iri kuti calculate the least possible perimeter of the triangle. So the least possible perimeter of the triangle, let us put down the triangle. Remember it's ABC. A inenge iri chi. Saka panapa manje apa, the keyword here ndi list. Kureva kuti tiri kutarisa the lowest possible number yatinogona kuita round off ichitipa to the nearest millimeter ichitipa 65. Saka 65 is for AB. Kureva kuti panapa inenge iri 64.5. Then for AC inenge iri chi. What is the lowest number panapa yatino rounda off to the nearest millimeter ichitipa 9.1. Let us not think of it as 9.1. Let us think of it as 91 millimeters. So it's obviously going to be 90.5. Then panapa it's going to be 77.5, like that. So that was what perimeter is a distance right round. Kureva kuti perimeter is going to be equal to AB plus BC plus CA. So that is what perimeter is going to be. What is AB? 64.5 plus what is BC? 77.5 plus what is CA? 90.5, like that. Then zvaitika nemutoo uno 64.5 plus 77.5 plus 90.5. What do we get? Answer yedu panapa is 232.5 millimeters. That will be our answer. So of course in ZIMSEC they do not progress in error. When apply a principle of fairness in marking, the error carried forward. So if you make a mistake in part 1, they will then recalculate part 2 using that mistake to see if you applied the mistake correctly. Of course, kana tichimaka during practice, we don't do that to train you to be more conscious and more to take your work more seriously. That is being more perfect with your answering. Sando maitirwa zvinoitwa. Part 1 ndo yakabata part 2. Remember, AB is greater than or equal to the lowest number. We round off to the nearest unit, to the nearest 1 millimeter to give us 65. And then the upper bound, AB should be less than the largest number. We round off to the nearest a millimeter, which giving us 65. But because AB are less than or equal to, so the largest number should be 65.5. So is that we are not including 65.5, but we're including numbers which are close and closer to it. Because the 65.4999999 is also an answer. Sakadeno maamati AB is less than 65.4. That could be inaccurate. So that's how it's done. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Approximations. Oh. Our next and last question in this tutorial. It is given that y is equal to 5.3. Saka we are already given that y is equal to 5.3 and z is equal to 4.2. Both given to 1 decimal place. That's the degree of accuracy. So they are both given to 1 decimal place. Find the minimum possible value of yz. Give the answer correct to 2 decimal places. It's a wonderful question. Saka panapa takuda kuziva. Apa tikuda titsvage the minimum possible value of yz. Saka tichada kuziva minimum possible value of y kuti inenge iri equal to chi. Todzokera ku degree of accuracy. Zvanzi both given to 1 decimal place. Saka 5.3, it's already given to 1 decimal place. So what is the lowest possible number yekuti tikaiexpressa to 1 decimal place inotipa 5,3. The lowest number, the minimum number yekuti tikaiexpressa to 1 decimal place inotipa 5.3. So the lowest number panapa, it's actually going to be 5.25. Because tikati 5.24 tikaiexpressa to 1 decimal place inge yakutipa 5.2. But 5.25 to 1 decimal place the 5.3. That is the lowest number possible. I hope you're understanding. Then panapa, the minimum possible value of x inge equal to chi of z takangana dajaira x of z inge equal to chi. You can try this one on your own and then unpause. Saka panapa inge equal to 4.2 actually expressed to 1 decimal place. So the lowest possible number yatinoshandisa to express that to 1 decimal place is evidently going to be 4.15. 4.14 becomes 4.1, but 4.15 becomes 4.2. Then tadai yz ichanetsere, yz is equal to 5.25 times 4.15. But since it's paper 2, as you can see up, it's actually paper 2 written November 2019. I'm going to use my calculator to save time. So 5.25 multiplying 4.15, it's equal to 21.7875, but tazonzi correct to 2 decimal places. Correct, our answer is evidently going to be 21.779. And this is 2 decimal places. So I hope that our first question and second dzakupai enough practice to know kuti kana wachiti minimum possible value vari kurevei, kana wachiti maximum possible value vari kurevei. That is it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, pop them up in the comments. But if you wish to contact us directly, WhatsApp us on this number. If you are in Zimbabwe, it's simply 071-521-3310. Take care and have a nice one.